Vice President Kamala Harris sat down to a town hall in Michigan last night with Oprah Winfrey, and as the conversation veered towards gun laws, Ms. Harris issued a warning to any potential home intruder that they could get shot. It seemed to be an unguarded moment before a live studio audience. Harris, who has robust protection from the U.S. Secret Service, made the statement amid heightened concern about political violence after a second potential assassination attempt against her opponent in the November 5th presidential election, Republican Donald Trump. Harris mentioned her gun ownership in 2019 when she was a U.S. Senator, and again in last week's debate with Trump in what seemed like an appeal to more conservative voters. She herself owns a handgun for personal safety reasons, and it's stowed away in a secure location at her California home, according to a source in the White House. That source, however, declined to identify the make of the gun, but says it's the same gun that Harris mentioned in 2019 on the campaign trail. I do apologize. We'll try to get you that soundbite of the U.S. president speaking about what would happen to an intruder who invaded her home. Harris also called for action to stop gun violence at schools. 15-year-old Natalie Griffith comes to mind here. She was shot in her shoulder and wrist during the deadly Georgia shooting. She attended Thursday's event with her parents. She recalled the shooting being a terrible thing. Now, according to law enforcement officials, one student, identified as 14-year-old Colt Gray, opened fire on September 4 with an AR platform-style weapon at the Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, killing 2 students and 2 teachers and wounding 9 other people. Harris said she was in favor of the Second Amendment, assault weapons ban, universal background checks, and red flag laws.
I think for far too long on the issue of gun violence, some people have been pushing a really false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. And these are just common sense. I'm not trying to take everyone's guns away. I believe in the Second Amendment, but we have to agree that, look, I did last fall a college tour with college-age young people, so I also did trade schools, and packed audience every time in their auditorium, and I would ask, please raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. Almost every hand went up. Let's all agree that the trauma, so many children, even those who have not directly experienced the tragedy.
Just being in the environment, being in the environment.
I cannot tell you the number of young people who, I mean, our kids had active shooter drills. They're concerned that there might be somebody who would kill them while they are at school. This is not the sign of a civil society, and it doesn't have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. Look, my opponent, when he was told and knew about a shooting of a young girl, you know what he said? Get over it. Get over it. No, we're not getting over it. No, and to the point, everyone should have a sense of collective responsibility for the children of our community.
Yes.
And understand their right to live and be safe.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I also want to say thank you, Joe Taker.
Well, before she ended that town hall with Oprah Winfrey, Kamala Harris did talk about her, what she would do if an intruder ever got into her home.
You have guns. No, at the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. Staying on the campaign trail, this time with North Carolina's Republican candidate for governor, Mark Robinson, who was promised to stay in the race after CNN reported that he once called himself a black Nazi and proposed bringing back slavery in comments posted on a pornography website. The African-American who denied making the comments is North Carolina's lieutenant governor and running for governor in the November 5th election against Democratic candidate Josh Stein, the state's attorney general. North Carolina's gubernatorial campaign has implications for the presidential contest. The fortunes of high-profile candidates there could affect partisan turnout or enthusiasm in one of the closely divided battleground states that might swing the election between Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump. The 56-year-old Robinson, who was endorsed by Trump, has a history of inflammatory comments and issued a video denial on social media even before the CNN story was published.
Hey guys, Lieutenant Governor Robinson and your Republican nominee for governor as well, of course. Well guys, the news media is at it again. My opponent is at it again. You all have seen the half-truths and outright lies of Josh Stein on these ads over and over again. And now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Folks, this race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash. We cannot allow that to happen. And folks, we've seen this type of stuff in the past as well. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will. God bless you, and we will see you where? On the campaign trail.
Away from the campaign trail, former U.S. President Barack Obama has been honored at the U.S. Military Academy West Point with the 2024 Sylvanus Thayer Award. Obama is the fifth U.S. president to receive the award, which is presented to an outstanding citizen whose service and accomplishments in the national interest exemplify the Military Academy's motto, Duty, Honor, Country. The award has been presented annually since 1958. The Military Academy Corps of Cadets conducted a parade in Obama's honor prior to the award presentation.
We live in a strange time. And at a time of so much division, you've chosen teamwork and unity. At a time of so much cynicism, you've chosen faith in our country and faith in the future.
2 men have been killed in the French overseas territory of New Caledonia in a police operation amid deadly unrest between indigenous Kanak people and French authorities. The incident occurred on Thursday in Saint Louis, south of the capital Nouméa, during a police intervention to apprehend people who had been suspected of participating in 2 weeks of violence in May, including armed robbery and attacks on security personnel. French news agency AFP reported that 2 men were shot dead by police, citing public prosecutor Yves Dupin. The officers were allegedly directly threatened by a group of armed individuals, at which point they fired off 2 shots, one of which hit a man, aged 30, positioned as a lone gunman in the right side of the abdomen. Thursday's deaths bring the toll from the recent unrest to 13. The lawyer representing victims of alleged sexual abuse by former Harrods owner Mohammed Al-Fayed called him a monster during a press conference today. A BBC documentary and podcast heard testimony from over 20 former female workers who said Al-Fayed, who died last year at the age of 94, sexually abused them, with incidents taking place in London, Paris, Saint-Tropez and Abu Dhabi. Speaking at a news conference with the lawyers, survivor Natasha said Al-Fayed preyed on the most vulnerable and brushed off these moments like they'd never happened.
Our aim, and our single aim, is to seek justice for the survivors of the sexual abuses of Mohammed Al-Fayed, who we say was enabled by an unsafe system of work which Harrods established, maintained, certainly acquiesced to, and we say facilitated during his chairmanship. We will say it plainly, Mohammed Al-Fayed was a monster. He was a monster. But he was a monster enabled by a system that pervaded Harrods. We welcome, but we welcome as a very much a first step, the admission at the end of the programme last night, given by Harrods, that they had, to quote them, failed these women. However, they also claim, or that piece claimed, that they didn't know about Al-Fayed's behaviour until 2023. We will say it plainly. That is simply not true.
Shakespeare's Hamlet said, quote, "Something is rotten in the state of Denmark," end quote. We say something was rotten at the core of Harrods. The store was known for catering to every need of its customers, and it was presented as the epitome of beauty. The ugly truth, however, was that a number of female employees were being sexually abused by its chairman, Mohammed Al-Fayed. Mohammed Al-Fayed died last year at 94 years old. He died without ever taking responsibility for what he did to many of his victims.
All of Nigeria's children deserve access to a high-quality education system that gives them skills they need to build a brighter and more prosperous future. This formed part of discussions at the commencement of the Partnership for Learning for All in Nigeria, PLAIN, a program in southwest Nigeria. The British Deputy High Commissioner, Johnny Baxter, who made the comment at the event, said PLAIN is a 7-year education program funded by the UK government with a mission to improving learning outcomes in Nigeria at the basic education level. The program commenced in Nigeria in 2021, working in some northern states and at the federal level. Nigerian startup The Mobile Prof is showing individuals how to turn their phones and tablets into remote work devices that can handle high-quality jobs. The startup began by teaching young people how to code using their mobile phones, and now they've evolved to doing much more than that.
Back in 2020, where we first paid a visit to The Mobile Prof, founded by Samuel and Yaile, the startup was all about teaching young people to code using just their smartphones. No PCs required.
So let's say we want to look at our downloads.
Many thought that was a brilliant approach, especially since smartphones were everywhere.
The same thing, but one is
Samuel's idea to give students the tools they need to learn how to code right in the palms of their hands was one that aimed to make learning more accessible, particularly in areas where traditional computers might not be available.
Remember the last time he came, there was a laptop in that shoot. So we needed for it to be a more mobile experience and more intrinsic experience. So we ensured that we created a system that enabled that to happen, and an energy efficient system that allows us to put together devices that work irrespective of what is happening with PHCN or what's happening with the cost of fuel.
Fast forward 4 years and the Mobile Prof had to make a big pivot. A combination of challenges led Samuel and his team to rethink their approach. So what's new with the startup?
When you last came, we didn't have our mobile e-library. Now we have our mobile e-library, which fortunately, a lot of people are even keen about. They want to mimic the same thing that we did for them, and it's opening up an unexpected new market for us. So we're now more focused on, instead of just beginner trainers, we're also teaching advanced people how to use tech people how to use mobile phones to augment their work and to carry their work around. There were some specific economic challenges. There is the more not in our control ones, and there were other ones within our control. True, the demand for mobile learning is huge, especially here, because most young people have mobile phone, but they don't have a PC. The challenge with that market is it's a market that doesn't have a lot of funds, because it's the funds that was even limiting them from getting the laptops in the first place. So you have a situation where you are making impacts, but you're not generating enough revenue to sustain that business model.
The startup decided to switch gears from smartphones to tablets. This new setup provided a better learning environment with a bigger screen and keyboard, while still letting students use their smartphones for practice.
Well, we're ending the program now. Aged just 3 years old, young German artist Laurent Schwartz is holding his first vernissage in his hometown of Neuburn. Laurent has become a sensation during the last months, with bids for his acrylic paintings ranging from 10,000 to 270,000 euros, while bids for his first picture are even higher. Laurent started painting a year ago during a vacation in Italy. Since then, he had painted about one picture a week. Despite the fame and attention, his mother, Lisa Schwartz, said it was up to Laurent to continue. While Laurent's paintings were already on display at Munich's largest art fair, Art.Munich, in April 2024, the vernissage is his first own exhibition.
Ja, genau. Wir hoffen, dass das da so stehen bleibt. Sonst macht's halt bum bum.
And that's the world today. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.